Think about all the knowledge that the JVA has ever put out there. Imagine we could put all of it into one place and then make it accessible, not through a search box, but through an AI that you can talk to that's very, very intelligent. We could build that in one day. Hey, Jennifer, how are you doing?
Got it.
Hey guys.
Hey, Jacob.
Hey.
You're in your new house.
Yes, sir. Getting all settled in, trying to get my office all set up, but got a couple more things that are on order, so I'm
So you just moved?
waiting on those to come. I moved last week, yes, ma'am, on not this past Friday, but the Friday before.
Like city to city or neighborhood to neighborhood?
About 2 hours north. So we moved from North Dallas to up on the border between Oklahoma and Texas. Is a little bit further past the border, about an hour.
Okay.
Get away from the city a little bit and get a little bit more land so we can have some freedom away from everybody.
Well, that's nice. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And Dennis, you were in the Amazon?
Yeah, I was a week ago. I was in Suriname.
Wow.
In
So
wild. Have you been in the jungle before, in the Amazon?
I've only been in the jungle of a city.
Oh, okay. It's a different jungle.
Yes.
Yeah. They have big bugs that can bite.
Oh my gosh. So was
And
it
snakes and-
like just like that sounds like not a vacation, but an adventure.
It was an adventure. The folks in Suriname brought us over to teach social media to some of the biggest players in the country. And as part of that, they wanted us to see their country and extend their hospitality so we could see the country that has the highest percentage of rainforest, pristine rainforest anywhere in the world.
Wow.
So we got to see how the natives lived, and we lived in some places for a few days where there's no electricity, no internet, no air conditioning, none of the things that we take for granted. So it's interesting.
Flush toilets?
Kind of, yeah.
That's interesting. So so this was really interesting. So last week I had attended a conference, and they did a session on AI. And what's interesting is just a weird thing just went by the window. So what we are is it's the Junior Volleyball Association. We're a trade association for junior volleyball clubs. So we provide education, we provide resources. We do a really good job of it. And we have a fairly young staff. Like I'm by 30 years, the oldest one on the staff. And during our summer planning, I had brought up, AI, and they were just like, oh, we do our own content. Like, we don't take that, and I was like, but I said, well, let's just explore it and find out more about it, and just kind of not put their foot down adamant about it, but just very leery about it. And then I'm so sorry. Who was I sitting? Was it Patty?
Patty.
Yeah. So I happened to sit next to her the next morning, and she told me about what you've done with her group. And I said, I would be really interested in that. So, and then just as one more background, I just gave it a shot. I went on ChatGPT, just put in 3 sentences. And it was basically, we're a trade association for junior volleyball clubs. Can you write a staff code of ethics and values? It came back in 10 seconds. And I think I only changed 8 things on it. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is educate my staff, kind of get them comfortable. I don't know if we could do a webinar or a Zoom. And then, obviously share that with all our members in some way as well. And I wished I would have, if this was June or July, this would have been perfect for our convention, which is in December. And because we do a club management track at the convention. It's the American Volleyball Coaches Association convention, but it's club coaches, high school coaches, college coaches. And I think it would have been a huge hit. But so my goal right now is to get my staff on board and educate it and using it. And then next winter at convention, share it with the rest. Or maybe we do a webinar sooner. I don't know. So whatever, you guys tell me what you do and how we go about this.
Yeah. Well, I think there's no better way to teach AI than to actually use it. So I was going to use this phone as my camera, but you started to play with ChatGPT, right? And the thing that we did at NFDA for Patty is that we did this stuff live on stage. And you can enable voice mode here. Let's see, it's connected to the internet. So look, not connected yet. It's connecting. Do I not have Wi-Fi on this thing? No, I should have it. Give it a sec. See, this is the risk of live demo. It still says it's connecting. You see this?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a shame. Well, I'll let it sit here for a little bit. But
so tell me a little bit about your background, Dennis and Jacob, and what you do. And I don't have to go into how, because it'll go over my head anyway.
I was at Yahoo at the beginning as a search engine engineer.
Wow.
And we've seen
must have been an exciting experience. Is there something specific you'd like to share or discuss about your time there?
No, actually, we're here with Jennifer Hahn, and she's the executive director of the Junior Volleyball Association, and she wants to educate her staff about ChatGPT and various AI tools and what it means, but they've been a little bit resistant. So we're thinking about ideas on how we can have a webinar and hands-on demonstrations, and then eventually do one larger for all the different clubs. What do you think we might do, and what do you think those challenges are?
It's great that you're looking to educate your staff about AI tools like ChatGPT. Here are some suggestions for conducting webinars and overcoming potential challenges. 1. Clear objectives. Start with defining clear objectives for the webinar. What specific AI tools and concepts do you want to cover? Make sure the goals are well defined. 2. Engaging content. Keep the content engaging and relevant to their roles. Show real-life examples of how AI tools can benefit them in their work. 3. Hands-on demonstrations. Incorporate hands-on demonstrations where participants can interact with AI tools. This makes learning more practical and memorable. 4. Q&A sessions. Include dedicated Q&A sessions during the webinar to address any doubts or concerns. Encourage participants to ask questions freely. 5. Use cases. Share real-world use cases of AI tools in the context of the Junior Volleyball Association. How can these tools improve efficiency or decision-making? 6. Gradual.
All right, that's enough. I want you to shut up for a moment. Please shut up for a moment.
Kind of nice. You can tell it.
Okay, so
AI to shut up. I wish I could do that with some people.
You can kind of be rude to it because it's not a real human, but I find that, and there's research that's come out that shows that when you're kind to it, it actually provides you better results.
Interesting. Well, why not?
Yeah. So if we were to follow what the AI recommended, Jennifer, what can we do in terms of objectives? So let's hold an internal training for your staff.
Yeah.
What are we? I mean, there's a general learning objective, hands-on demonstration objective, but how about using it in their various roles in your organization? So you mentioned a code of ethics. Maybe it's marketing. Maybe there's communications where we're rolling up what we're doing with the different clubs or the big event that's coming up, or we're honoring particular coaches for techniques that they have. You know, Jacob's wife teaches volleyball, so I think she's probably involved here and knows a lot about this.
That's a cool little connection. Yeah, my girlfriend, and she's about to be we're planning our wedding as we speak. But we haven't officially got everything planned, but yeah, she used to coach volleyball. Now that we moved to Oklahoma, she's going to try teaching this next year and see if she can get some sort of club volleyball coaching thing knocked down as well.
Well, she'll have to check out all the resources we have.
For sure.
It's unbelievable. In fact, one of the benefits of membership is prime access to the art of coaching, which has, if you need a drill on setting or how to train whatever. Yeah. It's
gonna be a cool connection. I'll have to show her your guys' website and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can choose a few objectives, we're happy to do the training.
So I think the first objective would just be to introduce it and give them a deeper dive in maybe not even a deep dive. I don't even know if we want to go there right away, but just, a clearer understanding of how it's not going to do the job for them, but it's going to make their job a lot easier and help them to be more efficient. I think that's the angle. Brianna, who is our director of education, takes a lot of pride in the content she develops and, pulls out of different members and coaches and club directors. And
so she sees that as competitive. Why wouldn't Brianna see it as she gets more staff and she can create, doesn't replace anything?
I agree. but I say I agree only because I've been enlightened. I drank the Kool-Aid last week and now I'm a fan.
Well, you could look at her objectives. So with education, are we looking at how many people we're reaching, how much content's being produced, how many members sign up and engage with something, how many people learn about the art of setting or sign up for coaching calls or attend events, or there's all of these metrics that you as the executive director are going to hold her responsible for. Now, how it's done, it's going to be up to her, given her budget and resources and whatnot. But if you increase the objectives, then she's going to have to do, and without increasing the resources, then she's going to have to do something about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, she's a rock star. I mean, she overachieves every year, and for example, the club management track we have this year, it's a whole day of education programming and roundtables. And then, we have our keynote speaker come in and, she does a good job, but she could be doing the same job, spending more time with her family. And so for her, I think it's more an efficiency and a time saver.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to,
We're not claiming she's doing a bad job. Okay.
Exactly.
But how about this? So we see people in Brianna's position are great at collecting content, are great at the coordination and, the production of the events, especially when you have an annual conference. But there's so much time involved in the logistics of getting that done that often once the content's been collected, it gets distributed, shared, recorded, put in a library, that kind of thing. But it hasn't been edited to the level, like if we had more people, we could edit it better. We could turn every session into a blog post. We could reach out to each of the speakers and coaches and be able to, I'm almost like the ChatGPT can do a better job than me at this right now, Jennifer. We don't even have to ask it, right?
Exactly.
I'm giving you my best. And if I asked the AI, it would probably tell you the same thing that I'm telling you, because it has learned. We've actually created a dentist chatbot, and it's ingested everything I have said or done, all the books I've written, all the webinars there's no way, Jennifer, you could watch every single training I've ever done, but the AI has, right? So
and it takes it all.
Because you're a C6, right?
What's C6?
501c6 nonprofit.
Oh, 501c3, whatever.
Or C3, 6. There's a couple different, legal differences.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're here to empower all these clubs and the coaches. And Brianna, in charge of education, she can create the ultimate volleyball coach. Doesn't replace the existing coaches. But if you want to upload, for example, a friend of mine, I took a picture of the bottom of his running shoe and I said, analyze it. And it said, well, based on the way the sole's being worn, it looks like he pronates his heel out and maybe his strides are too long. And it also looks like it just gave a whole analysis of his gait just based on a picture of the bottom of the shoe.
Wow.
Imagine you could do this for coaching. You could say, here, let me upload some snippets of a game and go ahead and analyze. Well, it looks like your setters are pretty strong, but your back row isn't getting the ball to the setters, and that's causing, the us not being able to move the ball in position, or we need to do more drills related to hitting because, you're setting it great, but you're not getting as many aces or spikes or whatnot. Or I noticed that the percentage of you're fouling too much. I don't know, whatever it might be, we can have the AI assist, but not replace the coaches, and then give individualized feedback for each of the players. And it's not because the AI is doing it. It's because we're taking the body of knowledge that the JVA has and organizing it centrally, allowing the AI to do things that we couldn't ever do.
Wow.
And we can do that in a day. We can have a staff day. We can, but we need to prepare, get all the stuff together. I'm saying that as an example of one objective that we could do. Well,
and the other thing too, for our club directors, it's also like our niche, there's a lot of people doing coach education.
Right.
And we would definitely work with you and use the AI to help facilitate, make it easier for them, more applicable than just having to dig through videos they could just call up what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but
you could use the APIs. There's so many ways of doing it. What you've looked at, Jennifer, is just the tip of the iceberg, where you're just having a chat.
Exactly.
It can do things too. It doesn't have to just chat. It can build websites. It can call people.
Oh
It can
my gosh.
run your market. I mean, it can do all these things because it integrates now with all these other tools, which are what they call these smart assistants.
And so our niche in the volleyball world is basically club management education. Yeah. A lot of the clubs started the same way I did. I was at my club, we're celebrating our 35th year this year.
Congrats.
And it started off as a pissed off mom club.
Oh,
like my background was early childhood, but my kid wanted to play, and that was in the 80s. Club was just starting, and she played for this one group, and the administration was just a nightmare. And so I said, I can do this. But 2 years into it, I'm sitting at my dining room table after the kids go to bed, and I'm paying bills and depositing checks, and I had $250,000 running through a checking account.
Wow.
I was like, this is a business. I don't know how to run a business. So, I reached out and started, getting educated myself. So that's what we do is for a lot of these club directors, we help them run their businesses better. And now they have facilities. And so that is something, that's almost the place I'd want to start, because that's our blue ocean. That's our niche. But there again, we have all that content, but making it more accessible and easier. Like a club manager could get on and say, hey, we need health insurance for our staff. What's available? Or something like, we need a marketing plan for tryouts, or how do you set up a chart of accounts for a business?
Yeah. So that is a fantastic first step, because you have a body of knowledge that you've created for 30 some years, and it's not that it's made more accessible. I mean, yes, it's more accessible. People can ask questions, and they can answer questions about management and spreadsheets and taxes and liability and health insurance, like all those things. Yes, it's like a smarter search basically. But think about a level further, which is possible now. I just want to give you an idea. So let's say I run a club here in Las Vegas, and I've set up my business checking accounts, and I'm collecting dues, and I have expenses, and I'm paying for uniforms and travel, and all these things I have to do to run my local club. But, everyone's good in one area. Maybe I'm good at marketing, but I suck at finance. Right. Or I suck at these other components, because they're really just entrepreneurs running their micro businesses, right? With the P&L. Exactly. What if I could upload my QuickBooks? This is not what if. I can do this right now. I can upload my QuickBooks and say, according to JVA's guidelines, this assumes that we upload all of your knowledge into the AI. This is not a theoretical thing. This is something we could do right now in 10 minutes. All this, this guidelines of club on club management and P&L and health insurance and all these things. Go ahead and just analyze my personal situation and give me recommendations.
Wow.
And it can do that. And it'll come back, like you said, in 10 seconds, and it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
And then you can compare it with the other folks you have on your team, saying, okay, if you were to analyze their finances and how they're organized in the rosters, and how many members they have and all this, how would you rate them in the different components of managing their club? I bet you would be right on.
Right. No, and here's one of my concerns is anything that goes into ChatGPT is available to the world, correct?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
So, and this is one of the biggest concerns I've seen in the last year, because big companies are saying, I don't want to give away proprietary or our trade secrets, proprietary information. There's financials, there's hospitals have patient data. I mean, I'm not so sure I want to give that to the AI. Well, and I don't work for OpenAI, by the way, although in some ways I'm like a spokesperson, because we teach a lot about this, but 92% of the Fortune 500 are using ChatGPT Enterprise, which means they are uploading this information to a private cloud AI. And it is not. And 2 days ago, Sam Altman, who runs OpenAI, said, and he's promised this many times before, but people have always been skeptical, of course. He said it is not used in the training of the AI. Any private data that you have that you upload, those are private. The data that it does use is publicly available information that basically, if Google can access it, Jennifer, then all the AIs can access it. That's the best way to look at it.
Right.
But clearly, if
there is a private AI.
Yes, it's called ChatGPT Enterprise, and there's other ways where you can do, without getting technical, we can build your system so that it has just your knowledge and it processes your data and is available only to members or only to named people that sign up and have an account or, whatever it might be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, would that also access public AI?
You can choose
to have it more robust, or?
So think of it this way. There's input and there's output, and there's processing in the middle, right? There's these three stages. So on the input, decide, okay, we have a private library of all the training, of all the people that are speaking, of all the stuff you have, right? They call that the knowledge base.
Okay.
And you can augment it with what you have that's publicly available. Most people choose both, their private and their public knowledge base. Second, the processing. So what are the objectives that we have with all this knowledge that we have? If we had an omniscient coach that knew everything, what will we have her do? What are the problems we solve? Oh, it'd be the blue ocean of club management. Okay, how would we break down club management? What are the components? How might we make this available? How do we promote it? And then the third part, the action, the input, sort of the processing, and then the action is who gets access to it and what do we allow the bot to do? Do we allow the bot to assist with marketing? Because we can spawn marketing bots that will help them, or or sending out things to the parents saying, hey, make sure on Tuesday you show up on time. Otherwise, whatever it might be, what actions can we have the bot take? Not just how do we have a fun chat with the bot, right?
Sure.
It's not just, that's cool and that's cute to have a chat, but we're not talking about chats. We're talking about how do we have these AIs that are empowered with our knowledge to do a certain set of actions.
Right.
And then when you start realizing the thing can take action, like it can update the website, it can do customer support, it can send out emails, it can answer questions, it can analyze the way, their technique. It can do all these things, not just chat with you, right?
So how do we start on this journey?
I would go with what the AI recommended. Let's carve out one or two kind of, I hate to say like low hanging fruit, let's some easy things for an internal training. And part of the chicken and the egg that we've seen with other organizations is this whole thing is so new to them. It feels like the sci-fi movie. So they don't even know what they can ask of the AI because they're not even sure. Like they're afraid that the robot is going to exterminate humanity because they've watched too many, Hollywood movies. And that's not, the reality is not that. That the problem with Hollywood is it always makes it out to be like there's some evil villain that's trying to kill everybody, who's like this billionaire evil Joker, Batman, whatever thing going on that wants to exterminate humanity. And therefore it causes us to all be afraid. But when you talk to go ahead.
I was going to say in a much lesser sense. I'm going to date myself right here, but when I was in high school and early college, there was no Google. You spent hours in the library going through microfiche right?
Yeah.
And then when Google came along, we're like, what? Like that's
kill the librarians.
Those kids, like no way. Like that's going to ruin their. They're going to take other people's ideas and make it their own. And so kind of.
This is just an extension of that. So I did the search engine thing almost 30 years ago, so I have seen that evolution. And from my perspective, Jennifer, this is not some like code red emergency. The robots are now about to wake up, and the Roombas are going to now wake up and while you're sleeping, and Alexa and Siri. No, I for the last 30 years, I've seen the tools get smarter every year. Wow. And this just happens to be the latest batch of the most intelligent tools. But it's the same theme on a tool is still just a tool. And one of my friends, Perry Marshall, who's probably one of the deepest thinkers in technology, he said that the challenge of that people have, they have this mindset, they try to humanize and anthropomorphize everything. So if you take a calendar, do you remember, Jennifer, the HP 12C? No. And that was like people would use these like financial calculators, and remember like when you had to do it by hand, the addition, subtraction, multiple.
I always had to do it by hand. We didn't have science calculator.
And then people
my kids did.
But people thought that using a calculator was cheating, right?
Oh,
remember that? Or like sneaking in notes into the exam to take the test. Or imagine like you could use Google on your cell phone and then cheat on the test, right?
Right.
All this is just another level further. So even if you took a calculator, the most high-tech advanced calculator, and you strung 1 million of them together, a million-mile-long string of calculators, would it ever wake up and become sentient? No. So it's the same thing here. So the tools, every year the tools get smarter and smarter. And now they're so smart, people who don't know any better think like we're right on the edge of the AI waking up because it's so good at answering questions, but it's still just a tool.
Right.
And so I use the cell phone. This is an iPhone 15 Pro Max. It does all kinds of crazy things. I have no idea how exactly it communicates with satellites up in the sky so that when I make a phone call or surf Facebook, somehow all of this is magically happening, right?
Right.
I have no idea how that works, but does that prevent me from reaping the benefits of being able to use the iPhone?
Yeah, good point.
So do I need to understand all the technical, if I want to drive a Toyota Camry, do I need to understand how the transmission works to be able to go to Costco? If I want to, ChatGPT can do all these crazy things. Do I need to understand exactly how it does all this kind of stuff for me to be able to reap the benefits of what it does?
No, absolutely not.
So this is just another tool. And it's so fancy that it looks like it's a human. It looks like magic, but it's just another tool.
Right. So where do we, so right now, unfortunately, in fact, this weekend, we're headed to Chicago. We have a 750 boys team tournament.
Wow.
Yeah. So everybody's and then our convention is in December. So,
plan something in January.
Yeah. And I mean, does that work with?
Yeah. Let's start with now your staff, is it remote?
We have 6 people are in our office in Milwaukee, and then we have 4 people who are remote.
I'm actually in Milwaukee often.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Next time you're here,
I'm in a training program for former professional athletes from Marquette.
Oh, my daughter played volleyball at Marquette. Do you know they just set a record for the largest attendance in Wisconsin?
Wow. No,
the volleyball team played Wisconsin at the Pfizer Forum where the Bucks play.
Oh, yeah.
Sold out, standing room only. Yeah, over 20,000 people. It was pretty exciting.
That's newsworthy. And we have a client who is a liposuction or does liposuction in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just there last month. I've been there probably 4 times this year.
Well, if you're here before January, definitely give me a shout.
Yeah, we could do a lunch and learn.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I can be there in person because now I see things on Zoom, and because we're like on the cutting edge and we see all the latest tools. When I'm on some of these Zooms, I'm sometimes questioning whether some of these participants are the bots or whether it's actually the humans. And they are so good, Jennifer. Like you could look at Jacob and he looks like he's actually there in his house, but when we set a bot up, you wouldn't be able to tell if that's actually Jacob. You think that Jacob is right there on that Zoom, but it's not. It's the bot. Jacob is sleeping or he's doing something else,
He's out unpacking boxes yet.
Yeah. No, seriously, that's where we are as of November 2023. And I've seen friends of mine who are in tech just play pranks on us by creating these videos where it even fooled me. I'm like, oh, that's actually Kurt. Nope, you got me. It wasn't Kurt. It's my bot. Because it can do your face and voice and all that now, right?
I've heard that.
And I can demonstrate that too. We can do a lunch and learn and
I
show
won't
you
sleep at night.
But if we do that, then your staff won't trust us. And it's like, is that real Patty or real Jennifer?
Right.
I don't want to open that Pandora's box quite yet, but I do want to show it's possible.
Exactly. So I have a director's call with 3 of the other directors, and on next week Thursday. Yeah. So we'll look at our schedules and pick out a time. I want to pick out a time where they aren't stressed. You know what I mean? There's not like running in 5 directions and so it's not like I'm adding something to their plate, but I don't want to push it off any longer because we're just wasting time that we can be more efficient and more creative.
Isn't that the irony? Is that it's, I would say like I was too busy to read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits book. The irony of it all, right? Like, what if you could just create more time
sooner?
Yeah.
Well, I've already convinced the in-office staff with my 5-minute experiment with our office code of ethics. They were like, yeah. Are you kidding? Right.
Yeah. So I think just demonstrating some of these cool things and having a lot of Q&A. So we're empowering the staff instead of jamming it down their throats that they need to adopt the AI stuff.
I know they're going to be so excited.
And they're going to come up we could just show a few things. They'll have ideas like, well, can it do this? And can we do that? And yes, not only can it do that, let's do it right now. Yeah. Show you. Not this PowerPoint presentation. Let's actually do it. Let me show you. Right. And then there's nothing better than giving a kid a toy and they learn how to play with it. Now they want to play. And then it wasn't that us as the parents are trying to foist it on them,
Yeah. I just have to say I was, when I broached the subject in this past summer, I was surprised at the reaction.
Hmm.
Because
You thought it
usually,
would have been more it'd be the stereotype is the old person is the fuddy-duddy who is the not wanting to get with technology.
exactly. And I think and they know I am so not into technology. Like thank God I have these people in the office. I'm like, Mandy, fix it. Emily, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, Jenny, you know.
But Jenny, you can give directions to Mandy and these other people, and you can
Yes.
speak. And
Yes.
that's all, as you saw, that's all you need to do is you just have to be able to speak.
Yeah.
And the guy Sam Altman, who's like the king of AI, basically, he's the one in charge of the OpenAI, and he's the billionaire crazy genius.
Yeah.
He said 2 days ago that the programming language of AI is English, just plain English. You just speak plain English to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a technical thing anymore.
Don't even have to type it in. Just get Siri up there.
You don't even have to type it. You can just say, you can even be, you can say, look, I'm not exactly sure how to talk to you, but here's my goal. Can you step me through the questions I need to ask and the steps we need to take to achieve this goal?
Yeah.
Why, sure, Jenny. Well, based on what you said, the first thing you do is this. So let me ask you this question. Like, oh, that's a good question. Well, here's the answer. Okay, based on what you just said, Jenny, the next question I have for you is blah blah blah. So it can facilitate the conversation for you, right?
So we'll pull that. I'll pull that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just choose a date for a lunch and learn. We can do it as a Zoom, or we can do it in person, or however the schedules align. I know you got a lot of stuff going on with this event, the convention, and then the holidays are coming up on us.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to get it on the calendar, and I want get the ball rolling. So Jacob, what's your role in this whole thing?
So my role working with Dennis, I'll just touch base on where I started. Was he came to speak at my university about 4.5 years ago, and I ditched the class to see him speak because he was late coming in from a flight, like a layover. And so I learned about what Dennis does with digital marketing and content creation, videos and 1-minute videos and some different things. And I was kind of pretty inspired just that day. I wanted to kind of jump into things because I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I grew up or what kind of job I wanted to have.
When I grew up.
And so I guess as I grow up, should I say, sorry. But so I learned these different things with Dennis, and I took action that day, took a couple of videos with him, and I hadn't really followed up with him. It had been a couple of years, and I had graduated college, and now I was trying to do sales, and I did sales for about a year. And long story short, I was like, hey, I'm looking for another opportunity. Are you still doing this? What kind of things are you doing? What kind of things could you use help on? And so I took some of the courses and talked to Dennis, and long story short, I'm an account manager now. So managing the majority of our clients, taking kind of responsibility for what has to be done within all the projects. So whether we have a liposuction doctor or a personal injury attorney or a funeral director, whatever their goal is trying to accomplish. And honestly, most of it ties pretty much into revenue, but some clients have different kind of goals. So I would say most of them, about 95%, are tied to revenue.
Nice. Interesting. Good for you for being proactive. Really.
Trying to learn as much as I can. It's been quite a ride since March, but that's impressive. I'm loving it.
Right. And of course, that's the other end too. Let me know what commitments we have to make financially to make this all work and get everybody on board and happy and, and down the line where we want to go to.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Jenny. Our mission is to create jobs for young adults like Jacob. And we publish our training. Almost everything we have out there is free on the internet that you can see. But by partnering with the NFDA or JVA or other organizations or Digital Marketer, all these other organizations in different countries, the whole point is to extend the training. And when it's hands-on, it creates jobs. So this is creating jobs inside Patty's organization because we're demonstrating through examples. Like Patty probably told you, we had a mix. So some large funeral homes, some small ones, just to show it wasn't just the big funeral homes that were sophisticated and had, whatever, to show that they could implement using these AI tools that would help with their SEO and websites and social media and video editing and all that. And we published the guide, which Patty may have shared with you, that we distributed to all the members. And this makes me happy because this empowers all the members of their organization, which are funeral home directors, to be able to follow the checklist and have a Jacob. Because every one of these guys, especially in funeral directors, because, the funeral director, average funeral director is like 60 and all this, they technology kind of left them behind, but they have to be in the internet, because people die and then they search for funeral director, whatever. So we're mass creating lots and lots of Jacobs that are serving the local chapters or local businesses using the techniques that we teach, that we just so happen to be partnering with Facebook and TikTok and all these other tool providers, because they know that we have a mouthpiece to be able to teach, and we have a track record of teaching. So all these guys that are building these crazy tools love to let us play with their tools first. So we have the preeminent training for all the top tools that are out there in AI and social.
That's awesome.
So it's this reinforcing, it's a virtuous cycle, because, we're not technically a 501c3, but we basically are, because every penny goes back into creating training and whatnot. This is not like, I retired 20 years ago. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for the impact. You couldn't pay me enough to do all the stuff that we're doing, but I just want to see more jobs being created. And that comes from putting training out there with real demonstration specific to that organization. So it could be a bunch of dentists. It could be a bunch of funeral directors. It could be a bunch of volleyball coaches. It could be all of these service-driven, membership-driven organizations all share a common framework. They just, the very thing they do happens to be a little bit different.
Right. And I'm sure you found out too, working with associations, it's a little different in that you don't have a marketing department, an accounting department, an HR department. It's like they're wearing multiple hats, doing multiple things. And the smaller the club is, the more hats they're wearing.
Yep.
So
nonprofits and associations are both the same way. Because there usually is an ED who, and then all these other volunteer people, and they all have real jobs and whatnot. So you're right, with volunteer run organizations, I believe that they should run things kind of like a business, with the real P&L and real accountability, and not because they're trying to make a profit, but because they don't want to be inefficient.
Right. And that's where we come in, is helping them be more efficient and, do a better job, offer a better program for their kids and their families at the end of the day.
Yeah. It could be as simple as, here's a program or a flyer for tryouts. And in just 10 seconds, the AI can generate that flyer.
Right.
Have you seen that? It generates images. It does all of this now.
Yes. Yeah. We were in that session at the conference last week playing around with it too. It was pretty fun. All right. So we will, after next Thursday, we'll find a time frame that'll work. And then do I reach out to Dennis or Jacob or both of you?
I'll just reach out to me for now as we're coordinating.
Okay.
And then we'll bring in other people that, depending on the kind of training we're doing and the materials we're going to produce for you, that kind of thing.
Okay. All right. That's perfect. And then, if you're in Milwaukee between now and then, give me a shout.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Jenny.
Nice meeting you. Good luck with the new digs.
Thank you so much. It was super nice to meet you, Jennifer.
All right. Bye-bye.